morning, or whatever time it is where you are right now. I am recording this early in the morning. I am back, everyone. So I was just celebrating my anniversary. As I was stating in my last video, my husband and I, we have been together since high school, and it's been 20 years, and we had our anniversary. So we had our marriage anniversary. We have two anniversaries that we celebrate every year, which is our marriage, which is when we went to the courthouse, and then we celebrate our wedding. So when we actually had our wedding, and that's later in September. And so we we celebrated that, and that was really nice. We were able to get a babysitter, and yeah, so we were able to celebrate. So I am back, and I promised I was going to get this message to you guys. This one here is a really good message, y'all. Please stick around. I'm going to tag a few shorts of this video because you do not want to miss it. I'm going to go ahead and jump into it now. So this one here, it deals more so within relationships, marriages, and what we've learned, because we as a couple, as a married couple, and even starting off as a young couple, we have saw a lot of different relationships. We saw examples growing up, of what didn't seem right. And even when it came to marriage, I always held marriage to a high standard, and I see that this is not being held to that standard. And the standard that I've always held it to was that of which God, I feel like that was, I've held it to the standard of, what God looks at as a marriage and what is pleasing in God's eyes. And so that was just something that I've always done, just as a younger, just in my younger years. And so, or when I was younger. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into this message here. So just a few statistics here. It's stating that in the 1980s, 18% of people, they actually had children before marriage. Whereas now in 2023, that was I tried to get 2025, but the, around 2023, we're looking at 40%. So I wasn't able to get the recent year, but 2023, it's at 40% of households that have children before marriage. And so, as you can see, from 1980, it was 18%. In 2023, it was 40%. So we're going into we're just going up here. And so the reason why this is important, and the reason why I think that it's really important, is because when we're looking at the children, when we're looking at the family, when we're looking at what's pleasing to God's eyes, when we're looking at the most important thing, which is the Word of God, these are the reasons why a lot of the things that we're trying to get, the things that we're trying to manifest in our lives, are not coming into fruition. And it's because the foundation. And what's so crazy about this is, me and my husband, we talked about foundation and rebuilding our marriage, rebuilding our relationship, and we do this all the time. If we feel like something isn't going right, we look at it almost like a house, our relationship, as if we're building a house. And if there's something that's not going right, let's say you're building your house and you're building it from the foundation, and you realize that, hey, I have a bad foundation, you're going to have to go back and redo that whole foundation. You may not have to rebuild the whole house, but you're going to have to fix that foundation. And so that's what this really is. This is the foundation. The Word of God, God being in your relationship and in just your marriage, that is your foundation. And that's what we have understood. That's what we, as a person that has been in a relationship for over 20 years, that has, went through the ups and downs of a relationship, that has 3 children with my husband. We basically have, this is what we always come back to. And, whether it's counseling, whether it's whatever it is that you have to do, It's the foundation is always God, and God is what's going to keep you together. And I think that because we have tried to remove God from so many different things of our, we've tried to remove God from our lives altogether, and that is the reason why we're basically lost. And for this to go from the 1980s, the households that were having children before marriage was at 18%, and then 2023 it's at 40%. And then going into an even deeper study here, it says that men that are not married live shorter lives. So they have a shorter life expectancy. Also, with women face financial difficulties, and they're more likely to go into poverty, being single and not married. And then, so men, it says that men depend on, so the sole support for men, and this is just in general, men depend on women for emotional support, while women depend on men for financial support. Now, this is not all men and all women, because we do have some men that are, emotionally emotionally intelligent, and then we also do have women who financially support themselves. But if I get deeper into that, most of those people, they are okay sometimes even being single or by themselves, because they feel like that they have there's nothing else to really complete them. So, and again, these are just numbers and percentages, and these are not exact. This is not everybody's case, but these are just based off of, what we're seeing. And so when it comes to even looking at an emotional, intelligent man, that could be if a man feels like that he does not need a woman, or he does not need a wife. If there's nothing that's beneficial, he feels like that he can do everything by himself. He's able to support himself the way that he needs to. Then he may feel like that he doesn't need a wife. And if he feels like that, then if he wants to have a family, the family most likely would fall into this number of this 40%, or this rising 40% of families that are having children without being married and without that commitment. And also, same thing with women. If women are feeling like they can financially support themselves, then they may feel like they don't need a man. They don't need a husband to help them. But what happens, because this is the crazy thing, for me and my husband, we've always supported each other financially. I've always worked, because that's just what I like to do. I have my own business. He just knows I'm very driven. So he doesn't like me to work, but that's just how I am. There's women that loves to work. There's women that love to support themselves. There's women that love to support their man or their husband. So that's why I say this isn't everybody's case. Just because a woman wants to be married doesn't necessarily means that it's because she doesn't want to work. That's not the case. The goal in which, we have to look at, that's where we have to go to God. That's where we have to go to the Word. We have to look at, what is the reason for the marriage? What is the reason for this commitment? And we have to look at, what does the Bible say that being married is compared to? The Bible refers to being married just like the Christ being ahead of the church. And it says that the man should be ahead of the wife. And a lot of women that I know do not like, hearing things like this, but I'm going to go into deeper reasoning as to why, this is actually a good, God just knows best. Okay. So I don't understand, why we have to fight with it. It just makes more sense. And, the simple fact that if you're putting your man as the head, and you know that you both are working with Christ, and you're deep into prayer. You are, praying over your family, praying over your children, praying over your home, or your household. There's no reason not to be able to trust your husband to lead you, because you can pray for him as well. So I like, I love that my husband, he takes all of the responsibility. I do, I do a lot of things too, but I just love that he does what he does. I do what I do, and we just come together and we help each other. I love that. I don't want to be the one running everything. That's crazy. Like, I just like what I saw one video. It was saying where this lady was like, she likes to be the passenger princess, which means that she likes to let the husband drive, and she just likes to sit on the passenger side. That's who I am. Yeah, I like to do that. And just, wherever he needs me to help, out, I do the taxes, I do the accounting, I do payroll, I run our businesses, literally all of the admin and HR work. I do all of that. So, I'd rather do that than to do the heavy lifting. I don't want to do the oil change, like he changes the oils, and I don't want to do none of that. So, he checks on the cars and like fills up the gas tank. Like sometimes I will forget, I'll be driving somewhere and my gas will be low, and I get to the gas tank and I've been forgot how to pump gas. But yeah, it's just crazy. But anyway, when it comes to the marriage, you guys should be coming together. And, I don't really know, because when it comes to dating, the dating scene, I don't know how, we don't really know how that works, because we met in high school. So I just know we're married. But when it comes to the way that Christ is saying that he's ahead of the church, and that is the way that the husband should be ahead of the wife. He also, the Bible also states that the way that the husband should treat his wife is like Christ treats the church. And so this is where you want to go in and study the word. You want to study the word. You want to see, how does Christ treat the church? How is he speaking to the church? And remember, who is the church? It's not the physical church. It's his followers. It's those who are walking in the light and love, and who is trying to be more like Christ. That is the church. It's not the physical church. And so if he's saying, and then the Bible also states that the wife is the weaker vessel. So meaning that she's not the stronger. We're not as strong as our man physically. We're not. We're just not that. It doesn't mean that you're less than. The Bible also states that. It does, but spiritually, we are looked at as equal. So just because the husband is ahead of the wife doesn't mean that you're less than. It just means that he is the stronger vessel. And we have to get away from feeling like, even with the feminist movement, why are we having a feminist movement? Like, the man is not taking any, I can't say all men, but, when it comes to, because every situation is different. So I can't speak for every situation. I really can't. But when it comes to the feminist movement, I can't even really speak on that either, because there's different elements. There's different, just a lot of things that goes on. And it just needs to go back to what we're being taught, what we're being told, the guidance that we're given. If we would just go by this, I think that this, all this stuff will make sense to us. And again, if Christ is ahead of the church and he treats the church, with such, however he's treating the church, it's how the husband should be treating the wife. They should be one, okay? They should be coming together and being one. And I'm going to go into some deeper things. And I want to compare something too, because I don't think a lot of us know about this, but there's a difference between the feminine, so the feminine, and then the masculine. And I'm going to just go ahead and pull that up here for y'all. we're going to look at some differences as to why we would want for our husband to lead. Okay, why we would want for um, why we want for them to lead. Okay, and we would also want to see, even as a husband or as a man, you can kind of see where you can benefit from the feminine. So the how we actually come together, and how when we're one, how we're more powerful. And when I say this, is there's times where me and my husband has come, we have walked into rooms and people have called us powerful, and it's based off of the things that we're able to do together. And this is just the way that God has made us. When we come together, we're just powerful. And so let me go ahead and get into these comparisons. This is just comparing the feminine versus the masculine. And so the feminine is intuition, whereas the masculine is knowledge. The feminine is receptive, and the masculine is action. So they're going to take the action. And so the feminine is receptive to whatever it is, and then the masculine is going to take action. The feminine is flowing, whereas the masculine is predictable. The feminine is magnetizing. So they like to pull things into them, like to draw things to themselves, whereas the masculine has a willpower. So they're going to force their will onto and to make those things happen. The feminine is emotional. So we tend to be emotional, but we have to be honest. And then the masculine is rational. So they're going to think about like, hey, you know what? You may be overreacting, let's just calm down. Let's try to think it out. So this is where the rational. These are direct opposites of each other. This is why we feel like we don't understand each other, because we are total opposites. But when we come together, we benefit each other. Trust me. And so the feminine is nurturing, whereas the masculine is protective. Okay, so you have the nurturing aspect for the feminine, and then you have the protective for the masculine. So you see how they're coming together. You have also the feminine is vulnerable, whereas the masculine is the problem solver. So we're bringing all of our problems to our masculine, to our husband, we're bringing the problems there. And you're going to hear them try to solve those problems. You're going to hear them. Once they're in their masculine, once they're working with God, once they're walking with Christ, you're going to hear them try to solve those problems that you have. You're going to hear them. And so next it's going to be grace. Feminine is grace, whereas masculine is strength. So we just like to be graceful, whereas masculine is going to come in with the strength. So these are direct opposites, but when they come together, this is what we're needing. This is what we need to raise a family. These two masculine, whether it's masculine by himself, whether it's feminine by herself, we cannot raise children by themselves. This is not unconditional love. Is the balance between masculine and feminine as well. That's how we receive the unconditional love from both parents. We have to have both of them balanced out. Also, I'm going to try to finish this out here. So we have the feminine is creative, whereas the masculine is goal oriented. So we have the feminine, who is always trying to create things, trying to put flower pots and different things together. Where we have the masculine, they want to get to the goal. They have a target. They have a deadline. They're gonna hit that goal. And that's just how they are. We're not gonna understand it. Trust me, we're not gonna understand it. We're gonna try to calm them down. No, they're not. We're gonna try to make them smell the flowers. They're not smelling the flowers. Okay, This is what I do to my husband, by the way. He brings me flowers. I'm trying to get him to smell them, but they're not gonna understand it because they're goal oriented and they're determined at whatever it is that they're doing. And another example of this, and ladies, if y'all are with me in this video, y'all are gonna know this is the truth. Whenever we say we're gonna work out, okay, because I have to work out after this video. When we say we're gonna work out as women, what we do is we come up with 1,000 excuses and 1,000 other things that we need to do before we do this workout. And then we don't do the workout. Okay? This is where you want to tap into looking at your masculine and saying, okay, a masculine, they're not like that. If they say they're going to work out, they're going to wake up, they're going to grab their bag, and they're going to leave. They're not going to think about anything. They're not going to think about, they may forget to tell you bye because they're so determined on getting that workout done. And when I tell you, if you really just want, like, if you pay attention to them, because I use my husband all the time to, like, if it's certain things that I'm struggling with, I'll, like, see how he does it, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do it like that next time. I swear, like, they are, like, point on, like, they will just get the stuff done. And so when it comes to workouts, just be like them when it comes to it. I promise you'll get the workout done every day. And so, but for us, we're always in our head. Like, we're just always thinking, trying to figure out, oh, we don't have enough time today to do this. We don't have enough time to do that. Masculine is not like that. They're not like that. They're just going to get it done. They're going to get it done. And so, let's see. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all. You can kind of look up the different aspects online of, the feminine and the masculine. But I wanted to bring that up because it's really important. I'm already at 22 minutes, guys. This may be a long video. I may do a part 2 because I don't want it to be that long. But guys, I'm going to probably wrap this video up here for you. I'm going to do a part 2 of this one because I have to get into when you are bringing in your person and when it comes to relatives and how this is supposed to be done, and how Christ is asking you to cleave to your spouse, cleave to your husband, cleave to your wife. And so stay tuned for part 2 of this video. You don't want to miss it. And then if you've gotten this far, thank you so much for watching. If you can go ahead and just like this video if this was helpful for you. And then if you know someone that this could be helpful to, if you can share it with them, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. And stay tuned for part 2.